Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now today I'm going to talk about a weapon light. Now when it comes to weapon lights at this point, I've used a number of different brands, but most specifically in a number of different cases, Olight. And here you can see my Ruger PC Carbine, which I've been using quite a bit. You've seen it a ton on my channel at this point, and I have been rocking this Odin GLM weapon light. It's a nice light. I like it a lot, but really for me, there's a couple of things. First off, because it's a weapon light, well, bottom line is I just can't shoot at night anywhere, so I don't really get to use this too much. It's really just has one main function, and that's turn the light on, turn the light off. And yes, it does have the laser, which is really cool about this particular unit, but at the same time, I do have a red dot on this at this point, so it's a little bit of redundancy, which again is cool, but I just don't use it a ton. And second is this particular light. Now, even if I am leveraging the red dot, as I sight down the red dot, I mean, this light's not too bad. It's canted off to the side. It doesn't bother me a whole heck of a lot, but it is a little bit in my sight picture. And not that it's distracting, it's in my sight, it's in my vision. It's just blocking some of the things that I could technically see. So again, not a big deal, but it is something worth considering. So today we're going to look at an alternative. This here is the Olight Sigurd. It's an integrated weapons light with an angled foregrip, which is really cool because I was actually already thinking an angled foregrip would be literally about perfect for this PC Carbine. This does have a little bit of a grip here. If you look towards the back end of the handguard here, it does have like a little bit of a swell. You do have the ability to get on that, but for me, that makes everything a little bit tight. I do want to reach out just a little bit further, and so I thought an angled foregrip would be about perfect. And well, the Sigurd 2-in-1. And the awesome thing about this is, well, even if this is mounted on my rifle, I'll literally use it with every single shot in some way, shape, or form. So not just having a weapon light mounted on my rifle that may or may not be used, but now an actual product that has multi-purpose, multi-functionality. I think that's going to be a great addition to my rifle. And so what we're going to do, we're going to get into detail. I'm going to break this out of the box. We're going to look at everything this comes with. I'm going to get it mounted on my Ruger PC Carbine. Then we're going to get out to the range for some practical field use. And so with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now, before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Olight who did provide this for review. And so as we get into the Sigurd, Olight always doing a fantastic job with their packaging. Now, if you've watched my channel, my primary Outer Limitless channel, most specifically, you'll see I've covered a ton of Olight products, and at this point, a number of Olight products on Outer Limitless too. And as we break this out of the box, generally coming with everything we're going to need. So you can see, comes with the tool, the weapon light and foregrip itself, some instructions, and, well, the typical charging cable, which if we take a look at it here, actually, it's a little bit of a different iteration from what I typically have. This here, the MCC 1A, it looks like. And if you're not familiar with Olight products, which you probably should be at this point, it does have a magnetized charging cable, which for me, I literally always have one of these just hanging off of my studio setup here, ready to charge anyway. So that's actually fairly convenient for my needs. But as we get into this, I'm pretty sure what we're going to find out is this is going to need to mount to a pick style rail. So we're going to take a look at this in a little bit of detail. Now, my particular rifle is an M-LOK setup, but I do have a chunk of rail hanging around, which is cool. You can see this does come with your informational pamphlet. So it gives you some basic information and basic specifications. And one thing worth noting, this weapon light here, this does have two different modes. So we're going to end up with a low mode being 290 lumens and a high mode being 1450 lumens. And right away, this is absolutely beautiful. Nice quality polymer with an aluminum head, that nice reflective bezel right on the front. So not only the reflector on the inside, but a nice bezel. Really nice looking. This is a great looking light. I'm curious right away if we press the buttons. So we're going to have to take a little look at this and see what's going on. The battery's going to be inside here, so an integral battery. You have your buttons on the side. So here you can see each side, so it's ambidextrous. The bolt here, which is going to be your mounting screw. And an additional screw here, which I suspect what we're going to find is that might be the difference in diameter for a different style rail. But we'll take a look at this in a little bit more detail. So the first thing we're going to see here as we take a look, it says the product is shipped in the lockout mode. Please charge it to unlock. So first, fully charge the product. So we're going to have to do that, but before we do, I will go through the full installation. So we'll take a look at this in detail. Now, as I work on getting this mounted up, I do need to make some considerations as to where I am going to mount this. And at this point, because of the overall length of the Sigurd, what I'm going to do is essentially put this as far back as I can, which I think is going to be about right, because if you look at where my grip will end up, it actually puts my hand at least 6 inches further out from the back end of the handguard, which I think is going to be about right. So I'm going to get my rail mounted onto here, and then at that point I can mount the Sigurd, which at this point, that's pretty straightforward. And the Sigurd here, well, this should mount up nicely. Now, another thing that I'm going to point out, my Ruger PC Carbine is completely black, and the Sigurd is actually gray. So if you take a look at it, they do have some different colors, and this one here is a deep charcoal gray color. So depending on what you're trying to do sort of aesthetically, you do have some options. Now, I'm just going to loosen up on this a bit, get that opened up. And unlike other weapon lights, you'll notice there is no spring. So you don't exactly like clamp it on like you do potentially other types of weapon lights, but rather feel like you need to sort of slide this into place. So as I get on it here, and that pretty much, I believe, has bottomed out. Actually, it's kind of wiggling this around. You'll notice it does slide, but that is quite tight. So that might be a good thing. It's just a matter of finding the right place in the rail. Now, of course, the only way I'm going to figure that out is by reinstalling the bolt, which I do have here. And if it's in the right spot, it should go right through the rail. And of course, I'm smashing right into the side of my rail. So it's going to take a minute to finagle this, but I'll figure it out and we'll go from there. And so now that I have the Sigurd slid appropriately into the proper location along the pick rail, you'll notice that the bolt does slide into place, and at this point I can tighten up. Which again, they do supply a tool. Now for me, I will typically torque up on everything at least to 15 or 20 inch-pounds, depending on what it is. Now this might not necessarily need it, but at the same time, you know, it is probably a good practice, but I can tell you this is extremely, extremely tight going on here, and I am probably going to have to wrap on this hard to get it back off. So tighter than I would like with my particular segment of rail. You know, I know each type of rail is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have slightly different tolerances, some thicker than others, and in this particular case, I'm just going to go careful here. I may leverage the torque wrench for this and just go easy. And so I have the appropriate bit literally sitting right here. Now, I don't want to go terribly high. Let's see where I'm at here. So I'm just going to go to 10 inch-pounds for the fun of it. And let's take a quick peek at where we're at, because 10 inch-pounds is not a lot and hopefully would not be enough to damage anything, but I'm just curious, where am I at right now? So getting this on there. So that's 10 already. Let's see, 15. So this is 15. And I'm at 15 already. So I think that's probably more than enough, which is why, again, you know, I do like to leverage a torque wrench when possible. I only went, I guess, what I would call finger tight, but this is 20. And it's definitely maxing. So I'm going to back this off just a touch. And that rings in right at 20 inch-pounds, which I don't know if that's right, wrong, or indifferent, but at least I have a benchmark to go by. And so at this point, well, that Sigurd is mounted. Really cool. So let's take a quick feel at this and see how this will go. And so I'll be honest, this better be at the right distance and overall comfort for me because of how tight this is. It's going to be a bear to get back off. But the moment of truth, it's perfect. It's perfect. I am about 6'1". I have a fairly long wingspan. I have taken the length of pull on this all the way out as far as I possibly can. So I need a little bit more distance, and for me, that's going to allow me just to pull this right into my shoulder comfortably, just about perfect in managing the weight of the rifle nicely. And you'll notice too that I do have the bipod on the front of this, so I'm trying to clear all of this stuff. And on the side, I actually have my sling mount, and this works perfect. My hand clears everything just beautifully. As I grip here, you can see just nicely gripping up onto the side. I can get on the buttons here. That's going to be very comfortable. And so as I mount the weapon, again, just a nice positive grip, fairly comfortable and to the right length for my given arms. This is going to be literally perfect. So the overall adjustability of the Sigurd is great. You have a lot of room that you can move. This is fairly large unit, all things considered. So depending on the length of your barrel and your hand guard and what you have for attachment points, it would be a consideration. But for me, it's actually going to work out extremely, extremely well. So at this point, I need to charge this. And now that brings up the next point, which for me, well, I can't leave a firearm laying around charging my proprietary charger. But, well, just so happens that, well, I got a takedown unit here. So as I split this apart, I can put the receiver end away and just leave this here. And again, you know, I always have my cable laying around. We'll charge that up, and then I'll get out to the range. And so now, as we get out to the range to use the Sigurd in some practical field use. Now, this is my very first time using a forward grip. I've never used an angled grip on any firearm, so this is a wonderful test. Now, I have shot my PC Carbine quite a bit at this point with mixed results. Pretty accurate for the most part, but definitely trying to speed up on my shots, and that's what you're going to see in my testing today. Can this foregrip aid in my overall quality of shot and my recovery as I get back onto target? Well, my first round, 2x2 square, 10 rounds, I'm happy with that. Now, moving forward, you'll see I do turn the light on for the rest of this testing in the low mode. Not that the light was providing any sort of advantage, but I did want to make sure that it didn't turn off with the shock of the recoil. And here, after 10 more shots, a 2x2 square, so far looking very good. My ability to reacquire my shots, absolutely fantastic. So here at round 3, here you can see I am dancing between 3 different targets, the number 1, the number 2, and the number 3. After 10 quick shots, well, you can see the results pretty good. I did nail a bunch of my shots, but I lost a couple of them wide. Now, keep in mind, for this entire testing, I am at 10 yards, or in other words, 30 feet away. Moving forward into round number 4, here you can see I am moving as quickly as I can. Some rapid shots, well, unfortunately, a little bit of a misfire. Just a little bit of a jam, not a big deal. I did find this happens from time to time with my PC Carbine. But after 10 shots, you can see here, hitting my X, a 3x2 square, only losing a couple of them wide. Now, the snow's really starting to fall, and you can see this actually is a pretty neat scene. I enjoy this quite a bit, just really fun. But speeding up, you can see excellent accuracy with the foregrip. I am loving this. Here on my target, again, 30 feet away, this is a 1.5 by 1.5 square. Now, round 6, going again as quick as I possibly can, leveraging that Sigurd as a great grip. I do very much enjoy this, looking pretty good. a 3x2 square as I'm going for that headshot, losing a couple wide, but not a big deal. Now at this particular time, I am dancing between the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the body as quick as I can, and I am absolutely thrilled with these results. Came out really good. You can see here a nice tight 1x1 square on the left and a reasonably tight 1x2 square on the right-hand side. So again, the Sigurd really providing an excellent grip and the ability to recover back on target as I reacquire my sight picture. Now, continuing to leverage this, round number 8, I'm going for the top right square, really speeding up, the fastest I've ever really shot, to be honest with you. And here you can see a wonderful 1x1 square, punching most of them in the square, but definitely missing a few out wide. Round number 9, going for a middle neck shot. Here you can see as I get through this, not too bad, reasonable results, around approximately a 2.5 by 2.5 inch square. Now, like most of these, I do end up pulling one a little wide or maybe a little high, but generally speaking, pretty good. And for my final 10 rounds here, round number 10, you can see as I get this off the bottom left square, all in all, a 1x3 square. Not too bad. Good results today. I am definitely feeling this Sigurd. It is a wonderful addition to my PC Carbine. Very effective and absolutely helping me with my recovery as I get back onto target. And well, as the snow continues to fall, let's get back to the studio and I'll wrap up my final thoughts on this Olight Sigurd. All in all, very cool, very effective, and I greatly enjoy this on my PC Carbine. So all right, guys, there you have it. A look at the Olight Sigurd. All in all, extremely effective. I do have to say I like this very much for a number of reasons. First off, the overall grip on my PC Carbine, not bad to begin with. However, this does give me the additional advantage that with that 45-degree angle, I'm able to pull the carbine into my shoulder and really mount the weapon nice and tight, which aids in my recovery back on target. My sight picture coming right back and on target and fairly quick. In combination with the red dot, fantastic. Now you can see that while I was shooting, even though I didn't technically need the light, it did kind of at least give me the test to see if the recoil of my shots would impact this, and it absolutely did not. Now a couple things that we haven't covered just quite yet. When you double click here, you'll see it will go into that high mode. See, at this point it is locked on, so it does have some memory, and as I double click back into the lower mode. Now there is no strobe, so if that's something that you're looking for, you may find this is a little bit lacking. And the other thing that this does not have really is a laser. So two things that I think in future iterations Olight certainly could consider. They're probably already coming up with it if I had to guess, watching Olight and how they advance. And that will be the next version. So at this point, really cool. I haven't fully tested the battery life. I do expect it's going to be more than suitable. And with that magnetized charger, no problem. Now, a couple little subtleties. For example, I did find that this is a little bit tight. So as you look at it at this point, it is kind of tight. It's snug and I think it'll break in a little bit. So that's one thing, just getting this seated down and into place the right way where I need it and for the bolt to align. And actually it went right into place this time. So it does seem to be loosening up a little bit as I put this on, take it off and whatnot. Now, unfortunately for me with my storage needs, this does not fit at all in any of my storage. So in order for me to get my rifle put away, I do need to remove the light. And at this point you can see, let me get it off of here. And just being careful not to jam my hands into sharp metal objects, but there you go, and it will come off. Now, the other consideration, of course, the fact that if you're not really in a place where you can leave your firearms out, you probably do need to remove this to charge it in the first place, and I'll get it back on that magnetized charger, get it fully charged up, and then put it away. So depending on what you're doing with your rifle, that may be another consideration. But all in all, extremely effective. I was able to speed up the fastest I've ever shot, the most accurate I've ever shot, and in combination, granted it was only at, call it 10 yards, 30 feet, but for me, that was an excellent place to be. So I'm very happy with the Sigurd, excellent results, and a wonderful addition to my PC Carbine. And so again, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Olight who did provide this for review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless channel, which is more of my primary gear. On that channel, I cover everything from hiking, camping, and backpacking excursions, all the gear that goes with it. So from sleep systems, shelter systems, knives, axes, backpacks, flashlights, you name it, that's my Outer Limitless YouTube channel. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.